Hey, this is the 5-minute podcast review for Thursday, April 30, 2020. Still in lockdown, but got 3 podcasts you might want to check out. And depending on the player you're using, links to all of them should be on your screen. And by the way, you might have noticed I've used some of my lockdown time to create new and better show artwork. Thanks, by the way, to the Canva website for that. Worth checking out Canva, that's Canva, if you've got a logo or some other graphic design project. And unfortunately, that's not a paid promotion. All right, okay, so first cab off the rank is Gastropod. This is a great food podcast, but it's not about recipes and cooking. It's about the history and the science behind the food we eat. And each episode is full of surprising facts and stories. Like in the very first episode, you might be surprised, as I was, to learn that the introduction of knives into our eating culture actually changed the shape of our faces. And there are dozens and dozens, probably hundreds more episodes that cover a huge range of topics, including the psychology of food colorings, or how licorice went from being medicinal to a confectionery item, why we happily eat some animals but not others, the secrets of restaurant menu mind control. That's just a few of the episode topics. But Gastropod is well-researched and very well put together, with entertaining and informative episodes typically running 40 to 50 minutes each. So even if you don't subscribe, it's worth a scan down the episode list to pick off all the episodes that catch your interest, and I'll bet that'll be a lot more than you think. Okay, so that's Gastropod. Next up, an 8-episode series from Australia's leading female stand-up comedian, Judith Lucy, and her podcast series called Judith Lucy, Overwhelmed and Dying. So the premise is that Judith has hit 50, has just gone through a bad breakup, so is single, and is realizing time is running out. Life hasn't necessarily worked out the way she thought it would. So over the 8 episodes, she's going to get the rest of her life sorted. Here's how Judith intros the series herself.
Hello, I'm Judith Lucy, and I'm overwhelmed and dying. Just before turning 50, I realized that I was totally overwhelmed by the state of the world and my own life. But I also felt like time was running out. So the question is, how to make the most of the years that I have left on this planet? I know what you're thinking, and you're right. This podcast is going to be hilarious.
Judith Lucy has a very distinct voice and I guess a very ironic style, and it seems some people either love it or they hate it. Personally, I think she's funny and is what makes this otherwise kind of predictable podcast series entertaining and worth a listen. Now, I don't mean to damn it with faint praise. If you're into Judith Lucy, you'll like the series. And if you've never heard of her, sample the first episode. Try a bit of Australian humour and see if she's your cup of tea, as they say. Okay, time for one more. I've just listened to the first episode of Grounded with Theroux. This is a new series born out of the quarantine lockdown situation and sees documentary filmmaker Theroux stuck at home with time on his hands and calling up a range of high-profile contacts also stuck at home with time on their hands. So we get a different kind of chat, and I guess a bit of a different angle on both Theroux and whoever he's talking to. In this case, that is in the first and currently only episode up, it was fellow documentary maker and podcaster Jon Ronson. This little clip from the start of the episode kind of illustrates what I mean by how a conversation can be a bit more freeform when time isn't an issue.
He grew up in Cardiff in a Jewish family and now lives in upstate New York. He is, of course, Jon Ronson.
Do you know who I had my very first ever Skype conversation with? The first time I ever had like a video conversation with anyone. Robbie Williams. I'd never met him, and he just popped up on my computer. It was quite intimidating.
You chased UFOs together, didn't you?
Yeah. That particular call was he wanted to spend a night in a haunted house and wanted me to facilitate it for him. I don't know. Will I tell you the story?
I have time. You have to be conscious of your precious time and what will be the best allocation of anecdote during the time available.
Yeah. Well, I have all the time in the world.
Well, tell me the story then.
Okay.
Everyone loves Robbie Williams, and the idea of Robbie Williams chasing ghosts, I think, is irresistible.
Okay, I'll leave out the UFO part of it. I'll just tell you the less well-known ghost part. It began with me getting a telephone call from Caitlin Moran. She left a message.
Okay, so you can check out the first episode of Grounded with Louis Theroux to hear the Robbie Williams ghost chasing story. It's part of a wide-ranging conversation between Louis and John Ronson, both great raconteurs. Not sure who else is coming up on future episodes, but I reckon it's a safe bet to subscribe. Righto, that's it. 3 podcasts to check out. Gastropod, Judith Lucy Overwhelmed and Dying, and Grounded with Louis Theroux. Catch you in the next episode. Thanks for listening.